Hello Scrappy friends, Jen here with a layout for the Scrapshots design team. This is the April challenge for the Scrapshots paper crafting Facebook group. So if you aren't in that group, go and check out the link down below in my description box. You can come and join the group, and we do challenges every month. There's lots of cards. If you love making cards, there are some absolutely amazing card makers in that group, but you can post anything that you want, any projects that you have in the challenge albums. And yeah, it's just lots of fun. So come and join us. I also will leave the link to the store down below. So if you are looking to do a little bit of shopping, by all means, you can definitely grab all your favorite goodies from the shop. And this is the Lavender Fields collection from Simple Stories. So that is in the shop right now. There's actually a couple of brand new Simple Stories collections that you can find. So definitely pop in, grab all your goodies, have some fun shopping, tell Sandy that I sent you. And yeah, that's I think that's it for the housekeeping. So the challenge for April is layers, and I definitely like a good layout where I can build up some layers. So I thought I would go ahead and put a layout together and kind of explain to you what I think about, what I focus on when I know I want to do a bunch of layers. And honestly, these are the layouts I tend to create when I start to have scraps. So I've done a couple of layouts already with this collection. So I have some, scraps of paper. I have some of the cut apart sheets that I've cut into. And before these scraps and all the little tiny bits and pieces get to be a little bit too much to where I just kind of want to throw everything out, I like to create some layouts where I can do some layering and tucking things in and get some of these smaller pieces used up. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is create my background, and I just grabbed one of the 12 by 12 papers that I still have as a full paper. And then you can see I've got some of those pages beside me that are no longer full 12 by 12 sheets. So those are kind of, my first go-to for creating layers, especially if you want to do something with lots of texture and you want to have some torn edges and things like that. You can definitely grab these. You can see, oh my goodness, there's a train going by. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you can see where I've torn these papers all to create one of my layouts. And so I grabbed for them first. I didn't know if I was going to do any tearing, but I just thought I'm going to keep those all out and kind of work with those first. So I'm building my background, and I'm giving my background a little bit of layering as well. Rather than going in and trying to find another piece of paper to cut into, I decided I would just fold my background, fold a little kind of flap over to give myself a bit of a border along that left hand side. The paper that I used, it just happened to work out. I don't know if you saw, I tried it on this side, I tried it on the other side. On the other side, there's a bicycle that is the image on the back, and it just didn't look quite right. But on this side, it's just a cute little pot with some lavender in it, so it actually worked out really well. And a lot of times when you have an A side and a B side, they can match, and so doing techniques like this works really good if you want to do it like me, where I folded the whole side, or you could fold down the corners or that kind of thing. But that sort of gets the process started and gets some layers already going. And then one of my 12 by 12 scraps, I guess we'll call it, there was a length that was long enough and could fill that space where I folded my paper to make sure that that background is still 12 by 12. So I added that in there, and it gave me a kind of fun little area of the layout where I could maybe tuck some things in. Then I went in and you saw me cut some of those cut apart sheets. What I'm looking for is some solid kind of bases, some either die cuts, or in this case it was pieces from the cut apart sheet, so 4x3 squares. They're not squares, they're rectangles. 4x3 cards, let's call them. That gives me 3 large spaces that I can start to put around my layout, tucked into my picture in this case. But if you had multiple pictures, maybe you want to have 3 separate little cluster areas, however you're doing it and with however many pictures you're using. Those just gave me 3 nice bases to start thinking about a visual triangle. And then from the journaling bits cut apart sheet, I noticed those fun little tags, or, well, I'm going to call them tags. I don't know what they are. They're like 4 little journaling spots that I thought would work really good because they are a little bit bigger. And I like to work with my layers from kind of really big elements and then slowly work my way down to the smaller little bits that you can kind of fiddle with at the end. So if you don't have cut apart pieces, if that's not something that you have, if you're working with just the scraps, then I would have been taking those scraps and maybe trying to build layers of framing around my picture, kind of just slightly shifting all of the different patterns and colors so that they're not all laying very straight and lined up with each other. They're all just slightly off, so you have these fun little corners and ledges and little nooks and crannies. And essentially I think that's what makes your layers really successful, is that you're kind of filling in little gaps, but nothing lines up, nothing is in that straight line where everything looks like it's all in a row and everything looks more like a grid than actual layers. So you can really see what I'm doing here as I go, as I'm tucking things down. I haven't fully started sticking things down until I've tucked a few things in and kind of built up some of those layers, and it gives me a bit of an idea of where I want to go and how I want to start tucking things in. It also lets me see, for example, with this piece that I just put down there and then the kind of black piece there, if I have hidden elements, I can cut out little sections of those so I have that pattern that I can repeat somewhere else, or kind of stretch an element to make it look taller or wider than it actually is. So I sort of start with my large pieces and build up a few different layers and move things around. I shift things around. This is the one type of layout where I give myself permission to be a little bit more nitpicky, a little bit more kind of finicky, and play around with things a little bit more rather than just stick and plonk. In the beginning, I like to fuss a bit and kind of move things around. And when I feel like I've got the gist of my design, then I can start sticking things together. And a lot of times, I've got sort of those bigger elements down. So if you noticed, I started with the cards and then I went to those tabs or those, I don't know, what are we calling them? What did I say I was calling them at the beginning? Just those little cut apart elements. I kind of stuck those down, and then I went to the sticker sheets that I have for this collection. I knew there were a couple of larger elements there, so I started to stick some of those down and some little words and things like that. And I'm using those stickers in 2 ways. One, I'm kind of, trying to spread out some of the colors and shapes, and if I'm going to add words, I'm trying to add words in all of my clusters. But also those stickers hold down some of those elements, so they're not kind of permanently adhered, but they are stuck down enough that I don't know if you saw at one point, I could pick up pretty much the photo and that whole cluster. It was all stuck together just enough with my stickers and my little foam stickers to kind of keep it together, but not so much that I couldn't move things if I needed to. So once I have that and I know, okay, this is the right design and this is where I'm headed, then I can go back in and kind of stick things down a little bit more permanently. Another tip I would say is if you kind of have an idea, but you're not quite sure about tucking extra things in, little tabs, little, strips of paper and washi tape and florals and things like that. Just put tape in the center of your larger elements, and then you have lots of space around the edges where you can go and tuck things in as you need to. And so once you have all of that done, you can go back in and stick things down a little bit better. Score tape or tape that's not part of a tape gun, so just like loose double-sided tape like I'm using here, definitely comes in handy for this type of thing where you can then just pop in little pieces. You could use dimensional tape and pop up corners and pop up some of the smaller elements and build a lot of dimension that way. But yeah, if you just stick to kind of the middle of all of your larger elements until you're ready to really finalize things, it definitely can help you from having to tear things up and pull things up to kind of shift them or tuck things in. So definitely a big tip for me. But once you start to know how it's shaping up, you can go in and make things a bit more permanent. So once I got all my paper, I got the larger elements, I got the stickers, then I can move into the chipboard, the smaller die cuts, the brads. I put in some of the adhesive backed brads in here, and even the enamel dots. So I basically got all of the elements from the collection all layered up, and really the key is just to add those small elements wherever two pieces of your background layers might connect. So nothing is, again, sitting lined up. Everything is just off a little bit, one from the other, and those smaller elements kind of cover up where two things might meet. So everything looks really cohesive and like it's all meant to be there and put together. It all has its own place. And that is it. That's my layout for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and come back again. Please subscribe if you haven't. And thank you. Until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.